All right, let's go to my boy Danny Segura, who thinks he's El Tigre on Instagram, just out there posting all his highlights.
I'm out there breaking ankles, son.
All right, we're gonna do this in two parts. I don't know if we have to play the intro twice, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we can skip that. We don't need to play the intro twice.
All right, so you heard the calls, you screened them, you got them ready for today's show.
I did.
Tell me about them.
They were pretty good. We got a lot of submissions, a lot of late submissions. I mean, guys, get them in on Sunday night, because Monday mornings at 10 minutes before the show starts.
A lot of people do that on Mondays, man. I've noticed that. They're like, I left a message at 10 a.m. It's like, probably not going to make the cut. Probably.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get all that sorted out last minute. So get them in early, and yeah.
Early bird gets the worm.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, let's get started with UFC Wichita.
Okay, let's do it.
What did you think about the Ben Rothwell decision? Do you think he got robbed? Let me know what you think.
I wasn't scoring that in real time.
Yeah.
It looked to me like Ben clearly took the third and definitely did the better damage. I know that Rothwell was cut, and so he was bleeding, but he just seemed to me to be doing the better damage overall. But I've not looked at the stats, and honestly, I didn't really start asking myself who was winning until halfway through the third.
Yeah.
And halfway through the third, Rothwell was chewing him up. I guess I was surprised, but I couldn't go to the mat, Danny, and make a real argument about either guy. What about you?
Yeah, I thought he took the second and third, but I mean the
it was tight.
It was tight, but it wasn't like tight enough for me to be like, oh, I don't know who's gonna get it. I thought going into it, I'm like, oh, Ben Rothwell should get it. But the fact that it went the other way, like, I'm not surprised with the judging.
You're like Nate Diaz, you're not surprised?
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
There was a couple of strange calls. Marion Renault not even getting one full judge's scorecard. That one surprised me a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll be honest about that.
I started tuning in for the main card, so I didn't get to watch a lot of the prelims. I'll catch up on the prelims on.
Yeah, like her losing is not a scandal. It was just that she only won one round on all three judges' scorecards. I found that a little surprising, to be candid with you. But all right, I mean, it is what it is, right?
I guess so.
To borrow from Max Holloway, it is what it is.
That's probably the most used sentence in MMA. That's lingo, I guess.
They goes through phases. For a while there, it was in the mix. Now we're off to it is what it is.
Trending in a good direction.
I guess.
That's also another one.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about judging now.
All right.
Hey, Luke and Danny. This is Alex from Orlando, Florida, calling. So
Florida.
on Saturday night, I personally think that the judges made a horrible decision with the Ben Rothwell and Blagoy Ivanov fight, especially since the significant strikes were pretty much even, and Rothwell was doing almost all of the advancing. So I know you've touched on this before, Luke, but can you discuss how you feel about judges in MMA today? Any possible solutions to bad decisions and fighters getting robbed by judges? And also, do these judges even have any prior fight experience? Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
I would go out there and say most judges don't have any prior fighting experience, not even any training. That's accurate, right?
Yeah, so here's to your point. Again, these are just numerical totals, so you have to judge for yourself what these mean. Blagoy Ivanov versus Ben Rothwell, 19-9 round one. 29-28 in round two. That round two is dicey. And then Ben really took over in round three, 33-24. These are all landed. Couple of responses. Number one, there is no hope. And I'm not trying to be like weird or rude or difficult about it. Remember, we have entrusted MMA, and I'm actually working on something about this. Danny, MMA has a innovation problem. The major reason is because we have entrusted the government to innovate our rules. That sounds inherently idiotic, but it is exactly what we have done. We did it to preserve the sport's literal ability to stay alive, so it made sense. The problem is we are now in a space where the sport is evolving, and boxing's rules kind of were established over time for a narrower field of combat. They've mostly worked out. We do not have that in MMA. So we have innovation problems two ways. Number one, it's uneven. So Nevada might have instant replay, but they've got the old hand-down rule. Or there's another way you can look at it, which is there's simply not enough innovation, and that includes with judging. So here's the issue. You have asked Nevada and California and New Jersey, and in this case, where was this one? Wichita, Kansas. You ever been to Kansas?
Never.
You know what you're missing?
I know what you're gonna say.
Nothing. You are missing. They call that fly.
I'd like to go to Kansas.
They call that flyover country for a reason, bro. Okay. In any event, people in Kansas are super bitter right now. I'm sorry. Don't live in Kansas. Anyway, the reality is this. You have entrusted these government entities to innovate their rule set without any other authority mandating it. Dude, this is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. You have a current rule set that is so wide in latitude, think about this, that you could decide one person won and I can decide another person won. Think about that. If you have a scoring criteria where two people can have two different winners in a contest and your subjective experience about where you sit, what you heard, what you saw, you have no ability to look at any metrics to go back and double check. You might have a combative background where you didn't fight, but maybe you trained jiu-jitsu, Danny, which I know you did. That might either inherently or not affect your judgment. You have no ability to go back and change a call. So we have instituted through the mechanism of delivery of scoring and the way in which we interact with the world, this epistemological pipeline that has made it so wide in latitude, it's so open to interpretation. There's almost no such thing as a bad card, almost. Yeah. And then on top of that, the government's in charge of any rules innovation. You are stuck. You are stuck. And also, last thing on this, well, do the judges have any combative experience? I do not care if they do. The role of, I'll let you go on this one. The role of judges somewhat overlaps in terms of expertise with the role of fighters, but they're very, very different. And just because you're a good fighter does not mean you are a good judge.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things, like, even like people like us, like that work in media, like I hear the argument all the time, like, do you even train? Like, do you, everybody should fight, in order to report on it. Like, no, that's totally not true. You can totally report on something. You can totally be knowledgeable about something without, having to get in the cage, right? But yeah, in order to fix this, what do you think about having 5 judges? And I don't know how to get into MMA as judging it, but like I would like for it to have like a trial where like you sit somebody down, like somebody knowledgeable, say like John McCarthy. Obviously he's not involved anymore, but you sit a few judges down, you make them watch some fights, and then see how they score those fights,
right?
And then be like, all right, is this and then ask them, why do you think you scored this this way, and then see if if their judging criteria is somewhat accurate,
Right. So I get asked this question all the time. Or, well, Luke, what do you think about open scoring, which Glory, by the way, uses in kickboxing? What do you think about X? What do you think about Y? Here's a very basic answer. We can't know the answer to any of these questions. You might be right, Danny, that 5 judges might be better than 3. I know New Jersey has experimented with what they call silent judges, where they're in the back just watching on a TV. How do those scores differ from the ones who sit cage side? Is there a real experiential difference there? I don't know what kind of results they came to, but I know they tried. But the answer is this. Until we get enough data through direct experimentation, it is impossible to know. It is impossible to know. And I have said this, in areas where the UFC goes to self-regulate, why not experiment?
That's true.
Why not? Nothing is stopping
5
you.
judges, see how it goes.
And they don't. They're the only ones who can do that. Not the only ones, but they're a big driver of potential innovation, and they abdicate their role. And until someone else does, I don't know what to tell you.
Dude, and it sucks because, like, one fight can make a huge difference in your career. Look at Ben Rothwell. He's been out for what, like, since 2016? 3 years almost, right?
Yep.
He comes back. He has a pretty good performance. He looked good out there. And then,
strong.
Yeah. And then, he gets what I thought it was a bad decision. And then, that can, especially in the heavyweight division, that could lead him a different path.
Yeah.
If he would have gotten a win, maybe, I don't know, fight JDS, I don't know. But, like, it would have definitely put him in a good spot. And at that age with the long layoff, like, he needs every fight counts at this point.
And money. And money.
Yeah. And money, too. Yeah. So there's definitely an issue there, and I'm with you. There needs to be some experimentation. That's the only way to figure out what works and what doesn't.
That's exactly correct.
All right. Well, let's talk about the main event with the time that we have.
All right.
We had 2 callers suggest 2 fights, so we'll just share the thoughts on that one fight and then move on to the next.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Here's the first.
Hey, Luke and Danny. This is Andrew from Georgia. Driving through Marietta right now, Luke, just past the square.
Sorry to hear that.
Wanted to talk about the fight night in Kansas. It was excellent. Ankalaev was a little tired, laying on the couch, and then Tim Means and Nico Price got in there, and I was jumping up and down, yelling. I was more fired up than Brian Campbell watching those three main fights. It was excellent.
This guy is pure
the question
Georgia.
is, after Junior dos Santos win, I
Junior
want
dos
to see him
Santos.
fight Francis. I think him and Ngannou need to fight. It was supposed to happen. Can we please make this fight happen? What do you guys think? I just don't know what else to do with him besides the trilogy with Stipe, and I don't think that's going to happen. So, anyway, have a good day, fellas. Talk to you guys later.
All right. So,
Hey there, y'all.
That was a great call.
My coon hound was out there on the porch just yelling at the moon. Okay, I would say I'm all in favor of it. There are some interesting questions about what you do with Blades, Volkov, and Overeem because they're occupying a space sort of somewhat in the middle there. But I would say if you want to do JDS versus Francis,
I mean, Blades is coming off that loss against Ngannou.
He's got some fight lined up. I'm not sure. Yeah, he is. He's got some fight lined up. I'm not sure exactly who it is.
Yeah.
And Overeem just got announced with some gentleman. I forget his name as well. I don't know what Volkov is up to. But sure. I mean, like in theory, would I want to see JDS versus Francis? Yeah, dude. And here's what I said on Fight Night, and I think it's true. If you go back and you watch how JDS beat Ben Rothwell, he was jabbing to the head, jabbing to the body, lateral movement. He was on his horse the whole time. Bro, he kind of had a gunfight with old Derrick, and he won.
Yeah.
Kind of shocking, to be honest with you. I was, for all the talk about him reinventing his style, which I do, and not reinventing, but like accommodating it.
Yeah.
Bro, he went out there and just slung the dogs with him. It was awesome to watch.
Yeah, it was sick. And I felt like at first he approached the fight that way, but I feel like at some point during the fight he figured out, man, if I pressure this guy, like, I can hurt him. He landed a few shots and we saw, Derrick kind of get wobbled a little bit, not too bad. And then after he landed that body kick, that's when he's like, I felt like in his mind he's like, okay, I got him. And he had that switch.
Yes.
But yeah, I think JDS definitely, like, this whole time we've been talking about, Stipe, Jones, Cormier, and then Ngannou won, then all of a sudden he's in the conversation. I think you need to plug in JDS right in that conversation. I think whatever plans you have, the UFC has with the heavyweight division, I think he needs to be involved as far as the title, like how you sort this out.
Well, he came into this fight ranked, what, 8th?
Yeah.
This idea about him being in the title picture, I'm not saying he's too far from it. I'm a little less convinced it's a necessity.
Yeah. Dude, he's on a 3-fight win streak. That's as good as it gets in heavyweight. He just be former title challenger. I don't know.
The thing is, like a fun fight would be Stipe versus JDS, but they already ran that back in Dallas, and Stipe ran through him. So it's like, there's no real cause for a third one. All right, you want to do one more real quick?
Yeah.
And then we'll do part 2 later.
Wait, so okay, yeah, you're right.
Part 2 of the segment.
So let's tackle the other part of JDS's potential fights.
All right.
This call was really creepy, but
that sounds like one of our listeners.
Sean Gray calling from Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, I was wondering, with the win over Derrick Lewis over the weekend, does a JDS Stipe 3 fight as a title eliminator make sense? That way Stipe can get back in the octagon and maybe make a statement. And maybe JDS can cement a new run at the title after that Stipe loss. All right, thanks again, man. Keep up the good work. And Danny, I like your mustache. Nice mustache.
Bro, the ladies and the dudes love you.
To my Chipotle. I'm speaking of the mustache.
Yeah, I'll grow back the mustache as long as you don't ever leave a call like that again. Dude, I was sick to that last night.
That made my day. That made my day.
That was creepy. So what do you think?
No, not
a trilogy fight? Because they are 1-1, right?
Yes. JDS won a war the first time, then got smoked the second.
Yep.
No, not really that interested. To me, it's like the second one is probably a lot more indicative of where they are today.
Yeah.
I'm much more interested in like Stipe versus Francis too, to be honest with you. At this point, I think Curtis Blades has a fight lined up, but a Curtis Blades versus Stipe, I'm a little more something fresh, I guess is the answer.
Yeah.
No, I don't have. Again, they may go a different direction, but you're asking me personally where I'm at. I'm looking for something fresh.
Yeah, I'd rather go the Ngannou, right?
And by the way, and I know I said real quick. I know I said look at something fresh, but I also said Francis.
Yeah.
But Francis's resurgence kind of makes it fresh for me, but I could be wrong.
For what, JDS Ngannou?
For Francis and Stipe.
Oh, yeah. I mean, his resurgence, I feel like there's still questions about that.
There are.
I think he has improved since that fight, but I don't know if we have like a completely different fighter. I'd like to keep those two away from each other at least for a bit.
All right.
I'm down for JDS and Ngannou. Put that fight wherever DC ends up fighting Brock. #1 contender or whatever it is, but make it happen.
All right, we gonna do this call with Halleck?
Yeah, let's do it. So we'll do sound off part 2 a little later in the show.
Second
so
hour.
I'll sign off.
Second hour. Yeah.
I'm gonna go call Halleck.
All right, very good.
See you later.
Let's go back to Danny Segura if we can. I believe we're all set up and ready to rock. All right, Danny, I have made my point on that. I am no longer going to beat that dead horse. But what did you think? Real very quickly. Do I make any sense at all?
Yeah, I thought you did. It's we definitely need more referee intervention, and the referees need to know when that intervention needs to be applied.
Yep.
I think, and that's when it comes down to. I feel like it mostly plagues the grappling aspect of stalling. Like it's a lot harder to stall while striking.
Yes. Can be done.
It can be done.
Take a point.
Yep.
Take a point.
But for example, that Kamaru Usman Woodley, they were not looking to advance position. Usman was completely content with staying there.
So was Woodley.
Yep.
So somebody help him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it's very modest. All right. Let's do it. I only have time for a few more of these, so we got to burn through them, sir.
All right. Well, let's get into it right away. There's a big welterweight fight happening this weekend, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
Hey, Luke. Name's Chris, calling from Smyrna, Georgia, home of the Campbell Spartans. You should be familiar with them.
Yeah.
Luke, what I want to know is...
They have lice at that high school.
With a win on Saturday night, would that put Darren Till back in the title picture? Or do you think that it's too soon coming off his loss from Woodley? The UFC has spoken about Till Usman in the past. Where do you think that puts Darren Till? Thanks.
You have to beat Gamebred thoroughly to get my respect. Lots of people have eked by him, but that's hard to do too. You really want to make a statement, you gotta viciously KO that guy, which by the way, very hard to do or submit.
Extremely difficult.
I'll say this: you go and you finish Jorge Masvidal. To me, that is extremely impressive.
Yeah.
You just beat him. I don't know. One more fight. I'm not sure against who, but maybe Askren or something.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the line is quite long, and we already have a title fight set up between Usman and Covington. Then you got the guy who beat Curtis Millender, right?
Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. Yeah,
yes, he's on a.
He's awesome, right?
Yeah, he's sick. He's on a current 7-fight win streak, right? Ben Askren is back in.
He looks like a La Liga player, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Plays for Girona or something.
Yeah. Sporting Gijón.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. And what's up with the 170? I thought, Darren Till said he was going to go up to 185 after his title fight.
Well, I mean, these guys, I think they figure out, well, you know what? Here's some couple of tweaks I could make. And if I get this big win, dude, you're fighting Jorge Masvidal in a main event in London. It's big doings. And I think they feel like I'll lose position if I make the move. There's a lot of fear about moving weight classes. That's why these guys literally get forced into it by health complications. So it's just, a lot of lessons learned the hard way, I guess.
Yeah, but I think if he beats Jorge Masvidal, even with a vicious KO, I still think he's a bit far from that title fight. I think he's at least 2 more fights after that. So
yeah,
I don't see an immediate, because also his title fight with Woodley was so one-sided. With someone we consider obviously an elite, obviously being a champion. So I don't think they'll plug him in that quick.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. You got time for one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. You want to talk about Daniel Cormier or Tony Ferguson?
Tony.
Okay, let's do Tony.
Tony's always fun.
Hey, Luke. My name's Cass from Oregon. I'm a big Tony Ferguson fan. I was just wondering what you think he should do next. What's his next fight? It's kind of sucks that he's not in the title fight. He's my favorite fighter. I'm just wondering what you think he should do next. All right, thanks.
I think he should see what happens with Holloway and Poirier. See what Holloway's going to do at 145. I think, and see what Khabib's going to do. He can't. There's just not enough. I mean, I know that's not a satisfying answer.
See what Connor's going to do.
Well, okay, but I'm saying there's just not enough information to know at this point. If you're going to pass up that, you gotta let some events transpire and then make a call based on that. Because, dude, I know we had that debate about the interim titles. Here's the thing. If Max is not going to give up 145, let's say Max beats Dustin, or let's say Dustin wins, is it really crazy to think that Tony might get next if Conor doesn't come back and Khabib needs a fight? Like, I know these are a lot of ifs, but is that crazy?
It's not.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's not crazy.
So I mean, I don't know what to tell.
Basically, what you're asking, is it crazy to see an interim champion get skipped over? No.
And in these circumstances where the guy hasn't lost since 2012,
and he was another interim champion,
right?
Whatever that's worth.
It's just it's bananas. It's bananas. I don't know. I don't know what the roadmap is here. I think he just has to figure out let these things transpire and then make a read based on the available cards you've been dealt.
Yeah, at this point, you can't make any possible decision. I mean, the only decision you could probably make is fight somebody else, but I don't think that'd be a very smart one because I don't think it does anything for you at this point, even if it's, say, an Ala Quinta, a top dog, right? I don't think it does anything for you at this point. At this point, you're looking at the winner of Holloway and Poirier and then see what happens with Khabib. So just wait it out, man. I mean,
I agree.
That's all you can do.
We have any more?
Yeah, we got more.
Well, one more very quickly, then I have to go.
All right. This is a fun one. Let's talk about weight classes.
Okay.
Hi, Luke. My name is Chris from San Luis Obispo, California.
Home of Chuck Liddell.
My question is, it
That's
seems
right.
like a lot of UFC title fights in recent memory have been pretty decisive. The only exceptions coming to mind are maybe Rose and Joanna, DJ and Cejudo, and Romero and Whitaker. But my question is, what divisions in the UFC do you think are the biggest shark tanks right now, and which ones do you think have a competition that's a little bit closer to championship level? I feel like it's a good sort of thing to evaluate every year or so as the sport progresses and all that. Thanks for answering. Have a good day.
So I think basically what he meant with like the second part is like what divisions do you see the belt sort of switching hands, and what divisions do you think the belt will sort of be steady with one champion?
I still think there's a lot of unanswered questions at 155.
Well, let's start with the big boys. Heavyweight, Shark Tank or no?
Semi. I think there's some questions about Francis's resurgence. Stipe believes with another crack he could do some work. DC is getting older, although he beat him in a round, but there are some interesting questions there. Sure, okay.
Yes, I think that especially after DC retires, man, that's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah. Light heavyweight, no. I mean, let's be real. No.
Yeah, Jones is going to hold on to that for.
It's going to take a mistake or something catastrophic.
All right. Middleweight, Shark Tank or no?
Yeah, I think so. You got a lot of young. You know what? There's a lot of youth there.
Yes.
Which is why that gives you some intrigue about. And then we'll see what happens with Romero and things like that. Yeah, Paulo Costa. Yeah, I would call that a Shark Tank. Sure. Mm-hmm.
Welterweight, Shark Tank.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, just changed hands, right? I mean, proof of concept there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, 155.
I think so. Hard to say. Habib might be very dominant. It's not clear. Yeah. But, Tony Ferguson, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier.
Questions out there.
Yeah, those tough bastards, man. So
145.
No, I think Max is head and shoulders better than everybody. Now, Volkanovski's interesting. Yeah. Let's see how he does against Aldo. But if Aldo puts him away, then no, there's really nobody who's competition.
By the way, quick parentheses, I hate that fight, but anyways.
You know what? It's very hateable, but I love it only because Aldo's like, I'm sorry, you a contender? I just love that.
On paper, it'll be fun.
Yeah,
because both are fantastic fights. I don't like what it does to the division.
It tears it up if he wins, Aldo wins. But I just love his competitive ambition. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I respect that for sure.
Okay.
All right, 135. Shark Tank.
Shark Tank.
TJ Dillashaw.
Absolutely, Shark Tank. I mean, I know Cruz has been out for a while, but that's kind of interesting. What's going to happen with Marlon Moraes? Aljamain Sterling is Cejudo. Yeah, absolutely. And then flyweight doesn't exist.
I suppose. You want to All right, women's featherweight.
No, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's not even a tank.
Yeah,
right?
Amanda Nunes went up there and just, crushed everybody. 135. No, I think Amanda's better than everybody there too.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
if Shevchenko were still there, I'd be like, but
I think Holly can maybe
the stick and move, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Cardio, 5 rounds.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight.
Toughness as well.
So semi, I call it semi.
Yeah.
125, bro.
Completely.
They got nothing for Valentina.
Shevchenko is.
I respect them too. They're all good fighters, but
you're
talking about a generational talent in Valentina Shevchenko.
Shevchenko is one of the best fighters.
Dude, I think she beat Amanda the second time they fought. To be quite honest with you.
And considering like what Amanda has done recently with Cyborg, like that just makes it even,
And then 115, Shark Tank, absolute Shark Tank.
I think so too.
I think so. You've got you got some hierarchy there. But dude, Tatiana Suarez on her way up. Cynthia Calvillo is on her way up. Like, yeah,
Livinha Souza.
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot of really good talent there. So yeah, man, there you go. There's an answer to the question for the gentleman from Oregon. All right, I got one more interview, Danny. So let me do that now. All right. Yep. Good work this week, my friend. As always, you can call up Danny at 844-866-2468. International callers, the MMA Hour at voxmedia.com. Just send a voicemail clip.